In this episode, technology, finding your why, and how being nice is one of the worst things you can do. This is the NAC Corner. Somebody cue the music. Hey guys, it's Paul Jones, your NAC chair, with the first episode of the NAC Corner. Thank you so much for joining me. This is our attempt to engage you, to empower you, and to equip you better to be successful in your First Light business and to make the change that you want to make in your community. So we have got a jam-packed episode for you starting out. And first, I want to talk to you about technology. Yeah, it's not everybody's favorite thing. And if you read blogs at all, one of my favorite bloggers is Seth Godin. He's a mentor of mine. Love the guy. Great haircut. We go to the same barber. And he wrote a blog recently about technology. And when we think about technology in the 21st century, we're pretty much talking about computers and electronics and things like that. But technology is any change that comes along and disrupts the culture. One of the things that happens with the nature of technology is it enables us to do new things, exciting things, which changes the culture. And then technology shows up again and it puts an end to the system that we're used to. And that is frustrating for all of us when that happens. Yet it's life in the 21st century and we can't avoid it. So for us as a system here at First Light to be able to position ourselves to be as successful as we can be moving forward and serve as many people as we can and truly change the world, we've got to be out front. So our technology platform is significantly changing at First Light. And that is one of the biggest things that the NAC is currently working on to help you be more successful in the work that you're doing. So this summer, there's work that you can be doing to get yourself ready. And there's two initiatives that are going on right now in our technology platform. The first one is QuickBooks Online. Everybody's familiar with QuickBooks. If you've been in the system, you've been using a desktop version, and you should know by now that we're moving from that to QuickBooks Online. Every office will need to do that going forward. I've been using it for about a month. I love it. It's fantastic. It has lots of neat features that the previous version didn't do. I've had zero downtime since I've been using it. As a matter of fact, the other night I was sitting at home, and if you like being connected to what's happening in your business and getting real-time information, I wear Apple Watches, and I joke that I have officially become everything I used to make fun of because I'm connected a lot to a lot of things. But I'm just sitting at home, and all of a sudden my watch tells me that one of my clients had paid an invoice, which I thought was pretty cool. So if you're watching your cash flow and you need real-time information, this system allows you to be able to do that much, much better. I mentioned two systems. One is QuickBooks Online. The other, of course, is CareSmarts 360. CareSmarts 360 is our client and caregiver management system that's going to be replacing FirstTrack. Now, if you're a brand new owner into the system, you're probably already on CareSmarts 360. And if you are, drop me a line, shoot me an email. I'll drop my email address right down here and put it in a link here as well. And let me know how it's going. I'd love to interview you for the NAC Corner so that other owners can hear your experience and you can teach us what's working and how it's working for you in your office. Everybody is going to be transitioning away from FirstTrack to CareSmarts 360 over the next 12 to 18 months. But how can you get ready now? Are there things that you can be doing now? Absolutely are. So if you'll watch with me, what you want to do is go to First Connect onto the homepage that we're all familiar with, and you want to look on the homepage for the First Look newsletter. All the communication about the changes that are coming, anything important going on at First Light is happening in the First Look newsletter. If you go to the upper right-hand corner to the archive, you'll see all of the previous issues from this year. And the one you want to find is from May 24th of 2019. And in this issue, if you go there and then scroll down to the section for Tech Talk, you will see a link for a pre-conversion checklist. And if you go there, you will literally find step-by-step instructions on how to get your system ready for your clients, your caregivers, your rate plans, everything for QuickBooks, everything for CareSmarts 360 right there at your fingertips. And that's work that you can be doing right now this summer. Okay, the second thing we want to talk about today is finding your why. And why do we want to talk about that? It turns out, if you're a fan of Simon Sinek, you probably already know this, but people don't connect with what you do, they connect with why you do it. I can remember going through Discovery Day when I opened my First Light business, and if you guys remember, there was a graphic and there were two wheels that were moving ahead, and one was care coordination and the other one was networking, and as long as they're moving forward and they're doing well together, you're successful. Well, the thing is, it's not a machine. It's a system, but it's made up of people. And people have different motives and different agendas and different temperaments and different energy levels all the time. And so I think, as a business owner, one of our biggest challenges for every single one of us, and then as a system overall, is to align all of those people towards a common goal. I spend a huge majority of my time focused on this very thing. And we spent a lot of time here at the office over the last year really figuring out what our why is and why that even matters. And there's a really cool book, and I'm going to reference books from time to time. If you're a reader, hopefully you'll check them out. This one is called The Advantage by Patrick Lencioni. What he believes is that most industries, whether you're in home care, whether you're in printing, whether you sell cars, whatever you do, because of technology in the 21st century, most of us are pretty good at what we do. We're pretty smart. But he makes the point in the book that the last competitive advantage, which is where the title comes from, The Advantage, is organizational health. Are people in your organization connected to one another? My why is, I believe there's an African proverb that I picked up many years ago, and it says to go fast, go alone, to go far, go together. And so the reason Renee and I became First Light Home Care owners is we really believe that we want to make deep change in the community where we live. Our mission every day is to love others so that they experience moments of hope, joy, and purpose. And we can't do that by ourselves. We need others around us. So being part of a system like this, the collective brain power of all of us around the country, rallied together, understanding clearly why we're connected, is inspiring. It's inspiring to me. I haven't worked a day in my life in the last 4 years. I get up every day excited to come in here because I know the work that I'm doing here matters not only to the people in this community, but it matters to you wherever you are. And that's the joy of being part of a system. So that's my why. That's why I'm part of First Light. And so what is yours? I'd love to know. Okay, topic number 3, and this is the last one for today, and it starts with a quick story. My first job as a supervisor was in 1999. I was a frontline supervisor in a residential program for teenage girls, and it was very, very hectic, very, very busy. I had a team of 10 people that reported to me, and I had all my peers, and then I had folks above me. So I was pulled in a lot of different directions. At this organization, they did what is called a 360-degree evaluation. And that, if you don't know, is the idea that you're standing in the middle of a circle and there's a group of people kind of around you giving you a 360-degree view of yourself. And so there's you, and then there's the people that report to you, and then there's your peers and your supervisors, and they kind of all have a different perspective. And so together, they share that perspective with you in a formal evaluation, and you can get a sense of how you're doing. I sat down with my supervisor to do that, and she starts out, and my peers said that I was doing great. My bosses thought I was doing a great job. Fantastic. My team said I sucked. You suck! I had no idea that this is how they felt. I didn't know what else to do. I called a meeting, and I think they were probably freaked out because like they were gonna get in trouble or something. Even though it was de-identified, I knew it was my team. So like the room was quiet, nobody was talking, and I didn't know what else to say. And so I said, well, guys, apparently I suck. You suck! And I would like to not suck because I'm really here for you, and I haven't been doing a very good job, and I didn't know. So I'm sorry, and could you give me some insight on what it is you need? And nobody said anything. everybody just kind of sat there. So it seemed like forever. This one guy, his name is Gary Jones, spoke up. And because of his bravery to speak up and say something to me in that context, everything started to change. And you fast forward a year later, and we were a dynamic team, and I had made major changes in the way that I served them, but I had no idea it was even needed. We shouldn't find out how we're doing as leaders. We shouldn't find out how we're doing in our work as caregivers once a year on an evaluation. There should be a culture of transparency going on in every one of our operations so that we can be in conversation with one another about the things that matter the most. So I think right after understanding why you exist and what matters most to you and what inspires you to get up every day, is that you've got to be able to talk with one another when it's not, when we get out of alignment, when things aren't going the way they need to be going. And there was this really cool study that came out, and I'm going to drop that in a link right over here as well, put out by the folks from the Fierce organization. So this book, if you haven't read it, Fierce Conversations, Susan Scott, huge shout out to my former BDD, Melissa Bollinger. The premise behind what Susan says in her book is the conversation is the relationship. So if you're not engaged in conversations with people about the things you need to be, the quality of the relationship's not going to be very good. They've done a study, which is awesome. And again, I'm going to drop the link in over there. And it has to do with niceness. And I think that is one of the worst. When I die, if somebody says he was a nice guy, that's like the worst thing that you could ever say to him. Niceness is become this thing that kind of overruns the workplace. You know, like we all go to meetings and everybody kind of knows what you're not supposed to talk about. And then when the meeting's over, we all kind of go over here and we talk and we go over here. And instead of talking in the meeting because we don't want to hurt each other's feelings. And it just gets weird. This work is hard anyway. Staying focused on your why, staying focused on your mission is challenging. But it's super challenging when we don't feel like we can be honest. In this study, it says 8 out of 10 U.S. full-time employees admit that they keep concerns to themselves at work because they want to be seen as nice by their colleagues and their leadership. So 6 out of 10 employees say that they have been fearful of voicing a concern at work. Think about that for a minute. What happens in your business when somebody comes and tells you that something is wrong? Or that you made a mistake, or that something's not working? Do you crave that kind of feedback? Or do you set up an environment where people are kind of walking on eggshells and everybody knows, oh, we can't say that to so-and-so, we can't say that to him, we can't say that to her, because then there's gonna be a price to pay. Just like happened to me 20 years ago when I thought everything was great and my team, for some reason, didn't feel safe to tell me the truth. The reason back then is I wasn't doing a very good job as a leader. I wasn't making a space for them to be honest. In this study, there are 3 ways to stop this toxic niceness, if you will, in its tracks. Number 1, give and ask for feedback. The latest study, I think, is it takes 23 times for somebody to hear something before it starts to sink in because of all the noise in our world these days. The second is to confront behavior. You know, I fight against bureaucracy and corporate speak and that kind of stuff, and I hope you do too in your business. We kind of like being small, we like being agile, but we feel more of the bumps in the road because of that. When things come along that don't make sense, we bring them out into the open, honestly. And we don't shame people, we don't shut them down, we don't punish people, but we do talk about behavior that's problematic. And that's across the board. Nobody is immune to that, myself included. And then number 3 is to listen and to invite all perspectives. I did a workshop back at conference in April based on some of the work of Brene Brown, and one of the things that she talks a lot about in her work is that we all tell ourselves a story. Everybody has a different picture of what's happening, and their perspective matters. And the last thing that I want to do as a business owner and as a leader is to shut down one of those perspectives because it makes me uncomfortable. Because it could be the very thing that's going to mean the difference between our success and our failure, our making the kind of change that we want to make in the community, and being the kind of people we want to be. So give and ask for feedback, confront behavior, and invite and listen to all perspectives. There is a really cool infographic around all this stuff that I am going to drop over here or over here. I can't remember where. And that is it. Thank you for sticking with me through episode 1 of the NAC Quarter. I hope you had fun. I know I did. Hey, send me your feedback. I want to hear from you. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't like, and what you want to see more of. Remember, we are on a mission together to engage one another, to equip, and to empower all of us to be more successful in our lives and in our businesses. Hope you have an awesome summer, and I will see you soon. Bye. In this episode, finding that. That is it. Thank you. Take two. Equip, engage, and I don't know what I'm going to say next. 24 minutes of awesomeness? That's not going to work.
You might have to roll that again. Cut.
Renee.